Hi everyone, welcome back. This is our last video on the first lesson. We just left off asking you to think about calculating I to the fifth after we talked about I to the sixth, both algebraically, that is on paper with symbols, and then geometrically in a graph, thinking about our rotations. So now let's go ahead and do the same thing. I'm just going to break up our page algebraically, geometrically, and we're going to go ahead and start algebraically like we did before. So we have I to the fifth. If I'm going to break this up, again, we know that I squared is equal to -1. So if we can break up this I fifth into the I to the fifth into I squareds, we'll be able to use the fact that we know that I squared is -1 to simplify. So I want to look at I fifth. I'm like, well, I can pull out an I squared, and that leaves me with 3 i's left over, so I have room for another I squared. Well, and then after that, I only have 1 I left. So I just took our I to the fifth and split it up into I squareds, and then whatever we had left over. Now we're going to use our fact that we know that I squared is equal to -1. Again, opening parentheses because I'm about to plug something in. Saves me from making mistakes on my signs. -1, -1. I squared is -1, so we just plug those in. -1 times -1 is +1, so that's going to be +1 times I, and we can just write that as I, or 1I. So algebraically, we've simplified I to the fifth down to something much more simple, just I. Let's see if this confirms geometrically. So over here geometrically, again, I'm just going to make a quick sketch of a graph. I'm just going to have I 1 unit out here. This is my real axis, that's a 1. This is my negative part of the real axis, so that's -1. Here's my imaginary axis, so that's an I. Here's the negative part of my imaginary axis, which is a -I. So we're all labeled, ready to go. Here, we're looking at I to the fifth, which means we're multiplying by I 5 times. So I'm going to start at 1. I'm going to multiply 1 time. That'll take us up to I. I'm going to multiply a second time, again, knowing that we get 90-degree rotations when we multiply, times I. So we've used up 2 of our rotations. Let's do another one. A third rotation gets us down to -I. A fourth rotation gets us back up to I. Now we have 1 rotation left because we're going I to the fifth. So then I to the fifth takes us right back up times I one more time to the point I. I'm just going to highlight that point. So we used our geometric interpretation that multiplying by I takes us 90 degrees. We multiplied it 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it took us back to the point I. So geometrically, we should say that I to the fifth is equal to I. And sure enough, that agrees with what we found out algebraically. So these are the 2 things you have to know how to do for your exit ticket. One, how to compute powers like I to the sixth and I to the fifth, algebraically and geometrically, and also how to solve quadratic equations with complex roots. So whenever you feel ready, make sure you come and take that exit ticket, and then you'll have credit for this lesson and for this part of the class. See you next time.